Any discussion? All in favor?
I'd like to know where Commissioner Copeland's going to find an unbiased citizen. I don't understand that. Could you tell me where you're going to find an unbiased citizen?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's going to, of course, have their opinion about what they need to have downtown, but
Make some bias.
I think we refer back to our straw poll on that and find
I
that.
don't agree with the straw poll, so we don't need to bring that up.
Mm-hmm. Well, there again, that's your opinion, and
I'm biased.
so you still need to take into consideration that we have people in areas that can contribute to all aspects of this jail issue, and I believe there's people out there that can come to this with an open mind.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? It's 4-3.
Chairman, I'm ready to move this jail project forward and to look at what options we have to temporarily band-aid the situation we have right now for some female prisoners that I think we're violating their rights, and we're ill prepared to provide jail space for these female prisoners. We're sitting on a time bomb, and we postponed this thing long enough. I'd like to have a temporary situation to deal with them, and then, as I've stated before, I'd like for us to, for the staff to come back with us some recommendations, and I'd like for this thing to be put on a countywide referendum with a SPLOST 6 to build a jail outside in the county. And I think we've postponed this long enough. But I'd like to move this forward and get the staff to start working on this and come back to us with some recommendations. Whether we accept them or not, that's another situation, but I'd like for them to start working on it. And I'd like for us to instruct the staff to do that.
All right, we have this as a motion.
Needs a motion, I'll make that motion.
Motion on that.
I don't think we need a motion.
14. I mean, he's making a motion on 14. Is that a motion?
I'll make it as a motion.
Motion. Second. All right. Mr. Soap.
I have some questions. The cost on getting an architect to redesign expansion of the detention center to update and reflect possible design options at and around the existing detention center location. Do we have an idea of how much that would cost? Mr. Stewart or Mr. Chairman?
Standard fee for
And what do you project the total cost of the project to be, and the 6 to 8% fee, architectural fee? Well, don't we? Well, while I still have the floor, do we not have any just ballpark estimate on what this would cost or what the architectural fees would be? I mean, truly nothing. I'm asking you if you have a ballpark idea of what this total project cost would be.
Answer to that is in what you do. What's been put out there is perhaps demolishing the front part of the existing jail, which is about 9,000 square feet, and then using that space, or perhaps it's slightly larger depending on the size of the property and what you can put there. That footprint could be 10 to 12,000 square feet. The architect and CGL's estimate is that runs from $190 to $200 per linear foot, per square foot, I'm sorry. And if my math is right on 10,000 square feet, that's about $2 million. If you do 2 floors, it's $4 million. Then you'd have to move the sheriff out of there, and there's costs associated with that.
And where would
So
the
this-
sheriff move?
I'm answering what the motion is, or attempting to, but it's, the expense you could have anywhere from probably as low as 4 to as much as 10. That's a shot from the hip at this moment.
For the
But
architectural
what you
fees?
do is depending on what the commission will spend and what they do is what will drive that. If it was 10 million, 6% of that is $600,000. If it's 5 million, 6% of that is $300,000.
It'd be 10%. But I knew what you meant. So we're talking about an expenditure of maybe $250,000 to over $500,000 for the architectural redesign on a project we're not sure exactly what we're going to do.
People, you could spend that high, yes.
Gotta have an architectural design before you can actually decide what you're gonna do.
Well, it's good to have a concept for what you're trying to achieve before you pay an architect several $100,000 to design something that's fairly nebulous, I think, at this point. But where, I've still got the floor, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Stewart.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned answering the question that you would relocate the sheriff if we raised his officers. Where would you relocate the sheriff to?
You would have, you would either locate him to the property you acquired just north of the jail site in temporary modules, because obviously there's no building.
Property across our street.
There's no existing space the county owns that I'm aware of that you can locate him to.
Didn't we just have a discussion, Mr. County Attorney, that the land that's, or the property that's in litigation is something that we can't mess with, so to speak, while it's in litigation, or misunderstand something there? How can we relocate the sheriff to the land that is currently under litigation?
Property under litigation right now. The remaining property is not under litigation. So, feasibly, if the commission desired to look at options, you could look at options on properties already acquired that's not under litigation.
The purchasing policies and procedures we have in place that the current commission, or the majority of the current commission, amended in 2007, I believe says that any expenditure that's over $50,000 requires bids from multiple sources. Anything that's more than $50,000 for goods, materials, or services.
The way I perceive this motion is that this is almost a two-part motion, if approved. That part one would be just giving administrative staff the go-ahead to at least look at some different options and present those options back in the future. Any further expenditure, such as being suggested right now in relation to person policy, would most likely need to be brought back before the board for the authorization to use that money. So tonight's, again, is how I pursue this motion. Tonight's motion, if approved, would not authorize a $250,000 expenditure at all.
Well, how would we get the architectural redesign of the concept that we're kind of talking about without expending money? Can you clarify that a little more?
I think the options on a very generic level could be proposed to the board without using that expenditure or spending those kind of funds. And then if that option seemed something the board wanted to pursue further, then those real numbers can be talked about.
I think this motion says that consider authorizing staff to have the architectural plans for the expansion of the detention center revised and updated to reflect possible design options. That's an action item. That's something you'd have to pay an architect to do. And I think in my conversation with the county administrator, we just determined that could be $250,000 to $500,000. Does somebody want to amend the motion to just make this a concept for discussion with the staff and the commission to clarify that point and make sure that we're not authorizing somebody spending $250,000 to $600,000?
I will amend that motion if that's what it included, that we are not to spend any money, but we ask the staff to go out and research different options and so forth and report back to this commission without spending any money.
So this is a non-expenditure.
I wouldn't authorize spending